Hello everybody and welcome to a new season of F1 TS Hub. My name is Kieran McGinley and joining me in the commentary booth is two-time champion John Worth. Jono, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, thanks, Kieran. Great to be here, and happy to have you alongside me for this season as well.
Well, for the Pinnacle tier then, obviously Drivers' Champion no longer here. However, the Williams will be hoping to kick-start their Constructors' defence as they won it last time out. Jono, you've been studying the drivers for a long time now. As we come to qualifying, who are you expecting to grab that coveted first pole position of the season?
It's a difficult question. I have been having a look, but it is a really open field, I think, this season, and I think that plays true in the pre-race interviews as well. Drivers really unsure of where they stand. Obviously, we've got some returning drivers, the likes of Sam and Bottas Weller, Matt FMG, and various others from last season, but they're joined by lots of new drivers as well. So I think the pressure is on for everybody here, and everyone's just going to go out today and try and discover where they will fit in for this qualifying session.
Absolutely, and if you watch the podium tier that is, I believe, just about finishing up, you will have noticed that safety car that changed up the race. Similar conditions actually in qualifying here, very overcast, very dull, as shown by the colours here. A rain could spice up qualifying, Jono. What do you reckon to that?
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be ideal for the drivers. I think a lot of them, do most of their practice as well during the week in the sunny conditions. So when you come out in these cloudy conditions, this makes you a little bit unsure of the grip levels. So it's just another thing for the drivers to have to deal with on their opening laps.
Well, I'm riding on board with Pepsi Gamer, who's driving in the McLaren as they make their way towards 11 and 12. Jono, I know it's been a long time since you've raced, but talk us through 11 and 12, a fantastic part of Melbourne.
Yeah, absolutely. Super high speed. You've got to be absolutely committed, but try and keep it within track limits as well. There's so much time to gain, and especially the exit of turn 12, absolutely crucial on the run down to 13, and we'll see that in the race as well, I'm sure, when it comes to attacking independent positions.
Absolutely. So I'm not quite sure who was first out onto track, but I'm riding on board with Jaw there as he goes through this left-hander, sweeping through towards the right-hander as he clips the wall there very slightly.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, that could be... I don't think he got any damage from that, so he can carry on his merry way.
Yeah, that was nearly end of his session there instantly, so obviously pushing all out from the get-go.
Absolutely, and a new season, of course, means a chance to really... knuckle down and score the full 25 points to start that title chase. Obviously 21 races, a very long season, Jono. You've done it all before. What's the tips there to getting that coveted F1 TS title?
I think the tip is, as you said, it's 21 races, and to keep that in your mind as well. It's not worth going all out and risking it all straight away, especially here. It's tricky into turn 1 and battle into turn 3 on the opening lap. I think you've got to keep it cool and just remember that it's a long season. Picking up points is all important. You can't win them all.
So Joe there with a 1:22.0 as he sets the benchmark for the session. Expect that time to fall though with more cars. And speak of the devil, there's Lukey who has did a 1:21.9. Then there's Made Showman there, 1:21.3. These lap times are falling as Scorpion sets a 1:22.4.
Yeah, the lap times are coming in at the moment, and yeah, 1:21.3 is the benchmark. Now a gap there at the front at the moment, but obviously early days. But I'm sure Mage will be really happy to get that lap in.
As TK there, 1:21.3, 200ths of a second off provisional pole. By the way, Go Tony here set that 1:22.8 on a set of super soft tyres. So, of course, if he finishes in the top 10 in this short qualifying session, he'll be able to start on those tyres and start with that alternate strategy. As we see there, lots of lap times coming through there. Flows 1:21.3 and CSS 1:21.5. As Samster is the first one into the 120s, he sets a 1:20.9.
Yeah, Sam starting his season off as he ended the last. By the look of it, he's looking quick from the get-go. Tony, as you say, interesting that he's on super soft at the moment. It's not looking like it's going to be quick enough, is it? But I guess he's giving it a go early on in the session.
Absolutely. Heskey time there, 122.4, puts him into P10 for now. And we have two other drivers who I believe they've got one lap next to the name, so that must have meant that their lap times were invalidated. If I could get my words across. I'm already ill, Jono. I can't afford to get my words wrong as well.
Yeah, we've got a long time to go yet, so yeah, we'll cope, I'm sure. But yeah, a few guys invalidating. I think it's quite a tricky track for track limits here. You are tempted to push the limits, as we mentioned in turns 11 and 12, but other areas of circuit as well, you can take a bit too much curb on the inside, and even across on the grass. So definitely keeping in those track limits is going to be tricky.
Absolutely. Well, Samster currently leads the way then, 120.9. Made Showman in second, Flows in third, TK in fourth, CSS fifth, Bothy Dweller sixth, Chopper in seventh, Lukey in eighth, Jaw in ninth, Pepsi Gamer 10th, Heskey Time 11th, Scorpion 12th, Toadie in 13th, Matt Your Daddy 14th, Farth in 15th, White Fountain 16th, Matt in 17th, of course, 14th to 17th, yet to set a time in this qualifying session. As
yeah, Matt F&G goes up into P3 there in the Ferrari.
Absolutely, but remember, he's now done 2 laps on those ultra soft tyres, so that could come back to haunt him come the race.
Yeah, definitely be hoping to pit, won't he? He's got the lap on the board now, be looking to pit and go quicker again on the next set if he possibly can. Try and get the tyre usage down a bit. That extra lap can really hurt you at the end of the sprint in the race.
Absolutely. Well, obviously we come to a new season, which means a new game, and short qualifying extended by 6 minutes. Originally it was 12 minutes, now it's gone up to 18 minutes. Perfect opportunity then for drivers to set 3 qualifying times, especially at certain circuits. Jono, is that an advantage or disadvantage to the drivers?
I think it's a good addition, and I think it's an advantage to the drivers. Certainly from my point of view it would be. Just takes a bit of the pressure off you. Especially at the longer circuits, Spa and whatnot. If you made an error on your first run before, you were up against it. So it just allows them to take the pressure off a bit. You can get your first lap on the board, and then you've got a chance to go in, retires, go again, and build your session a little bit. Just lets you bed into the circuit. Some drivers great at just nailing it on lap 1, but I know, from experience, I was always having to build up to the speed a bit. So I think for those sort of drivers, it'll be a benefit.
Absolutely. That was Matt Your Daddy there, getting into P7 there, 121.6 on the ultra soft tyres. In fact, the only driver not to set a lap on a set of ultra soft tyres was Go Tony. He currently finds himself in P15, so he needs to get back out there and set a lap on the ultra soft tyres. And well, to be fair to him, 122.8 on the super softs isn't a bad time. We could expect him to see in the top half of the field, Jono.
Yeah, he's out on circuit still at the moment as well. So, yeah, 15th at the moment. It's I still think he's going to want to switch tyres and try and get further up the grid than that, but we shall see.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said at the start of qualifying, a lot of the drivers, especially in this tier, aren't really sure of the potential of others in the league. Maybe 1 or 2, but it's Matt Your Daddy runs along the gravel there. Yeah, especially throughout the entire field, everyone considers everyone a little bit of a rival as we come to the first race of the season. Going into the dark then, how difficult must that be for drivers to sort of assess the field they're racing in?
Yeah, it's always tricky. Sort of frees you up a bit on the first race of the season because you've you always feel you're in with a good shout. You obviously don't know how you stack up against others. So there's always full of enthusiasm for the opening race. But I do think we might see drivers, or I hope we see drivers being a little bit more cautious around each other, perhaps especially in the opening laps of the race, when you don't know your rivals, you don't know who's aggressive, who's not. So you've got to build into it a bit, find out how others drive, and I think we'll see that as the season goes on, and obviously rivalries will develop from there. Absolutely.
Well, we have 8 minutes and 40 seconds left in the session. Samster still leads the way as the top 3 on their outlap. Made Showman here, also on an outlap coming towards the end of it. And a little bit of traffic here, especially with TK here trying to find his way through in the Haas. And making his way around the final few corners. And a lot of yellow flags, but I'm assuming they're just for drivers trying to get out of the way of drivers behind them.
Yeah, I presume so. And as TK goes 1:20.7 as well, so a good lap from the Haas driver there. In provisional pole at the moment, and it's close throughout the field, a couple of tenths separating every driver to go down, so plenty to gain for these drivers with 8 minutes in session remaining.
Absolutely, and the more drivers go out and set lap times, the more the track rubbers in and the faster the times get throughout the session. So it's worth trying to get a couple of stints in because you're putting rubber down for the next time you're out there.
Yeah, definitely. It's usually, if the conditions stay the same, you know, the last across the line will have the best chance of setting that time in the session. Yeah, hooking up the lap, not easy as we know, and the added pressure of it being the first round as well. I think there'll be a few sweaty palms on the drivers as they go into this session.
Well, here's an interesting one. I'm looking at Lukey here as he's coming around the final few corners. He set his best lap time 1:21.9 on a set of ultra soft tyres. He's now back out there on a set of super softs. What's the thinking behind that, Jono?
You tell me. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure whether he just thinks he isn't quick enough on the ultras, and maybe didn't set a great lap on them. He thinks maybe now is a good time to change strategy, or is he just trying to get a feel for those tyres before we go into the race? I'm not quite sure on that one.
As Flows then goes top of the table, the 1:20.697, and Samster instantly beats him to it, a 1:20.5. Jono, this track is getting quicker and quicker, and like street circuits, especially Albert Park, the more laps you set on that, the more rubber you lay down, and the much faster the track becomes.
Yeah, we're seeing the lap times come down, aren't we? And they're trading in there at the top of the time sheets at the moment. Sam and Reflow, we spoke about them before as being, you know, looking like they were going to be front runners this season, and they've certainly started off that way.
Absolutely. Only one driver yet to set a lap time. That's Farth there, who is now on a flying lap, I believe. With one lap next to his name, he had another lap invalidated. So he's got to keep his head down and keep that car on the track, all four wheels on it, on the grey stuff rather than outside it.
Yeah, he has. The pressure is on him now, isn't it, to get a lap in. And I think he might do well just to drive at 95% just for this lap, just to make sure he gets one on the board, but just have a bit of time then to push all out again at the end.
Absolutely. The hard life, Jono, of trying to commentate a race and advertise the race on Twitter at the same time. It's never easy.
Multitasking, eh? Multitasking. There's quite a bit of traffic on track as well. We mentioned a longer session, but these guys are still managing to find themselves running quite close to each other. So not ideal, but far pushing the limits. So I'm going to stay on board with him till the end of the lap just to see what he can do. But look, he's pushing the limits of the track again a bit on the on turns 11 and 12. So we'll see if he can complete the lap and set a time. Right across the line now.
No, it's another invalidated lap.
Another invalidated lap. I think that was in turn 11, 12 chicane. So he's going again, but wow, it's not ideal for him at all. He's pretty much out of the RF energy as well by the look of it, and doing more laps on these tyres.
Absolutely. Well, he's got to try and get into the pits and put on another set of Ultrasofts, unless right now he's just trying to set some sort of banker lap so that he has a target for the third stint. As he runs across the grass there, you can see he clipped the grass on the inside of that right-hander, and it sent him completely wide, and there he goes, abandons the lap completely.
Yeah, it's a pretty much nightmare start to the season for him for this session, but he's got 4 minutes to try and get back to the pits and deliver now.
Absolutely, 4 minutes, yeah. Yeah, he's just letting the Force India through there. I believe that was Tony he was letting through. But a very close field, it has to be said. Let's have a look at the gaps between them. As you can see, the top 10 separated by just 1 second, Jono. Yeah,
absolutely incredible, isn't it? And all those drivers will probably, know what their PB is as well. They'll know they've all probably got potential to come. And one nailed lap time can move you up several spots on the grid. So 3 minutes left, 2.5 minutes left. I think we're going to see some great laps from all these drivers.
Absolutely. I'm riding on board with Jor right now as he comes towards the 11 and 12 chicane. We'll see how he takes this. chucks the car in and hopes it sticks. And all runs wide and loses the car completely. He's in the wall. Jaw is out of qualifying, losing it big time on the exit of turn 12 there. So many drivers have been caught out by it in previous seasons past, and Jaw becomes one of the first victims of a new season to retire from the session.
He does. I know it was mentioned in the steward's briefing before the race that the exit of turn 12 has been the scene of many accidents, and yeah, Jaw is yet another victim. Spins the Haas into the wall. It just kicks back off the grass, back across circuit, and that's the end of this session.
Absolutely. So we get a great shot of the pit lane here. That is a Ferrari leaving, and if I'm not mistaken, that would have been Samster leaving the pits to go for one last run. And obviously with a 120 round here, you're looking at an outlap of around about 140 if you're looking after the tyres. So anything past that, the sort of 1 minute 40 when you're leaving the garage, is probably slightly too late, or at least you'll be pushing it. Oh, as a force in, it goes well off there. That must have been Tony who went off there, and it was, yes, in the background of the shot I was looking at. And yeah, that's on the exit of turn 13. He went onto the gravel there.
Well, we said drivers would be pushing, didn't we, in the last bit of the session, and so it's proving true.
Yeah, Heskey there going up to P3 is that is Tony coming into the pit, so he has he's not going to finish qualifying there. So Heskey now up to P3. We've got Mage Showman here, who's got no front wing, so that's his qualifying over now. So I wonder what happened to him.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's come into contact with a wall somewhere along the circuit. There's a minute and 10 left, so Sam he's in the final sector now, about to start his final lap. He's in prime position at the moment, but he certainly won't be feeling safe with that gap to replay in P2.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll see what he can do there. TK on a flying lap right now. Let's have a look at the lap times there. You can see Samster is still on an out lap here as the sun tries to poke through, as TK gets slightly onto the grass there. So we head towards that horrible curb on the right hand side. If you clip that, you're pretty much going round as we head with TK now riding on board as we head towards the 11 and 12 chicane. Chuck the car in, hope it sticks, drop a gear, drop two if you need to. Oh, and TK gets a little bit onto the curb there. That's going to cost him a couple of tenths as he makes his way down towards turn 13. Again, a difficult set of corners coming up now, 13, 14, 15 and 16. And Pepsi Gamer retires, TK clips the gravel as we head towards turn 15 with him. Round the final corner. What will it be for TK? He needs to find 2 tenths at least to improve his time and improve his position. Here he comes towards the line. What can TK do? He can't improve. He sets a slower time.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a scrappy lap, wasn't it? Certainly second half of the lap that we saw, he was just pushing the limits perhaps a bit too far there, looking for those last few tenths, and yeah, actually ended up going slower than his previous best.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when you try to push that much and a mistake happens, well, all you can say is that you did your best. Now this start line is painfully all the way down the other side, and ZRE flows 120.4, puts himself provisional pole for the Australian Grand Prix.
He does reflow there by a tenth at the moment, so he's absolutely pulled that out of the bag at the end. Great lap from him, and yeah, puts it into P1.
Absolutely. And here is Chopper here, currently P10. Can he make any improvement on his position here as we head towards the line? What can he do? Chopper goes P11, so he wasn't able to improve his position there. He did improve his time, but will start outside of the top 10. Advantage of that though, Jono, is a free tyre choice.
Yeah, I think he'd probably rather be P11 than P10 or even P9, so he probably won't be too disappointed there that he didn't squeeze into the top 10. Yeah, free tyre choice could open up his race strategy quite nicely.
Absolutely, and so we wait for the grid then for the Australian Grand Prix. He'll be with us any second now. There it is. So Flows takes pole position for the first race of the season. Samster is in second, Heskey third, TK fourth, White Fountain in fifth, Matt in sixth, Matt Your Daddy in seventh, CSS eighth, Lukey ninth, Maid Chauvin 10th, Chopper in 11th, Bothy Dweller 12th, Jaw in 13th, Scorpion 14th, Pepsi Gamer 15th, Tony in 16th, and Fast there did not set a lap time in that entire qualifying session. Jono, I'm going to have to ask you here, who are you backing for the race win?
Wow, that's it's so difficult to say. You'd have to say it's on Sam and Reflow. If they can get away off that front row, then they both look quick, don't they? But behind that, Heskey time as well, putting out a good lap time there to get it onto P3. So, as we've got heavy rain conditions, I can see as well for the start of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, 20. How many laps is it? 20. I said this earlier.
28.
28, 29, I can't remember. I'm ill, let me off. However many laps it is, though, I think most of it is going to be in this rain. Now, Jono, we don't really have any weather forecast. All we have to do is look at the clouds and see if the rain clears up. But as you say, I'm looking at the Mercedes garage, and they've got full wet tyres ready.
Yeah, it certainly looks like full wet weather, doesn't it, from looking down at the pit lane there. And I'm sure the hearts will be racing on some of the drivers in those pit garages, as this is far from the ideal start they would be hoping for this season. I'm sure the nerves will be jangling a bit down into turn one. Where do you brake? How much grip is there going to be? So many questions that the drivers have got to come up with answers for immediately.
Absolutely. Apparently, Mateus in the chat says apparently there's going to be rain all race. So we have that to look forward to, Jono. Rain for the entire race. So keep away from those curbs.
Absolutely. But it might be a chance for some of these guys who perhaps didn't have the ultimate pace there in qualifying to do something in these conditions. I think you've got to go into these wet races, thinking of it as a positive, that you can actually get something good out of this race rather than going into it with thinking, oh my god, this is going to go wrong. If you do that, it probably will. Go in with a positive mindset and see what happens. Best recorder.
Absolutely, and if you fancy racing in these sorts of conditions, well, I commend you. But if you want to race in this league, please do visit f1tshub.com. You can find all the information there as to whether you can join the league or not, and how you can join. And I'm sure Jono can vouch for the quality of this league. Hey, Jono?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's obviously biased slightly, but it's a great league. We've got up to three tiers obviously now, and we've already got quite a big waiting list, I think. But yeah, you can go over to the website and find the sign-up details to get onto that waiting list. And yeah, I'm sure you'll have an absolutely awesome time once we get on circuit with us.
Absolutely. A couple of drivers to mention. Lawrence D joined during qualifying, which means he'll start at the back of the grid. And obviously Farth didn't set a lap time during qualifying, and maybe happy that there's a bit of rain on the track here, Jono.
Yeah, you'll be looking to move forward, and I guess the guys in the front row have got the most to sort of lose with these tricky conditions. The guys starting 11th and down are probably thinking this is a decent opportunity for them, but we'll see now as the cars line up on the grid. Will we get chaos in these open few corners?
Well, the top 10 was separated by just 1 second in dry conditions. What will be the story as we head to a soaking wet Australian Grand Prix? A new season dawns on us, and we have to stand in the soaking, pouring rain to see it all. Rain expected all race here as we wait for the 5 red lights here at Melbourne. Round 1 is underway, and what are the starts like? Looks like it's a good start from the McLarens at the back there. Meanwhile, Flo's there. Looks like he's going to head to turn 1 and take the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. That is Samster looking to sneak his way in. We've got a Renault off in the distance there. And who was that going across the gravel there? I'm not quite sure. But has everyone kept it clean as we head towards turn 3? Chopper finds himself now at the back of the field. But meanwhile, Flows takes the lead of the race into turn 1. Samster second and TK third.
Yeah, pretty good start from the front runners. But White Fountain, the big loser there, down 9 places to 14th. Maid Showman as well, down to 16th. And Chopper currently brings up the back of the field, down 7 positions. In 18th.
Well, he's riding on board with Matt FNG, and that's TK going very wide there, lost the back end, went onto the grass, and I don't know whether he lost a bit of front wing there, but he's definitely lost a position to Lukey, now down to P5, and this is the thing now, the drivers who may have had dry setups during qualifying may start to struggle as we head into this soaking wet race.
Yeah, we might see now who bothered to put in the wet backers and who didn't, as Lukey loses it at the exit turn 12. In the Renault, he manages to keep it in the right direction, but he's going to plunge.
Oh, massive contact! Massive contact! CSS and Lukey both out of the race! And that was, as you said, Lukey losing the back end, and, well, I think for CSS there was nothing he could do. That's what it looked like from our view. But 2 retirements on the very first lap of a new season.
Oh, Lukey will be devastated as well. He made good progress there, but just lost the rear, as you're saying. Just the speed differential then caught the drivers out, and yeah, ended their race.
Oh, that's
already.
Sorry to cut across you. That was Matt, your daddy, losing the back end on the final corner, and now he might lose a load of positions here. He's now down to P12 and now has to defend going into turn 1 here. There's the Toro Rosso of Scorpion, and now the Williams trying to go down the inside. There's also a Force India as well trying to go down the inside. That was Tony, and I think the oh, that's a Toro Rosso into the wall there. And I'm just trying to work out who that is. That was Scorpion there in the wall. So we'll have to wait and see if he's got any front wing damage. Look on board there. Matt, your daddy, running too deep into the corner there and losing another position. You can see how bad the view is from Scorpion's view. Very misty. A lot of spray happening here. Very difficult to make out what the cars ahead are doing.
Yeah, so much spray. And Matt, your daddy, appearing to be struggling a little bit, being pressured by Lawrence there in the Fourth India. And these group of cars, Scorpion, White Fountain, all just fighting for the same bit of racetrack as Scorpion losing the rear of the car there. The conditions just look awful.
Absolutely. I think I have to correct myself. That was Lawrence I was talking about, the Force India there, I do believe. And it always throws me off because he joined in qualifying. But we have a look at Scorpion at White Fountain then as we head towards 11 and 12. Normally fast flowing chicane becomes a bit of a nightmare in these conditions. We've got Pepsi Gamer is out. And is that another turn 12 victim there?
I think it may well have been.
And
yeah, it looks so tricky. The rear of the car on board with these guys at turn 12. It's just wanted to come round on them.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, no DRS as we head on to lap 3 for obvious reasons. But TK losing that back end once again, and Heskey Time just sails by.
Yeah, must give a mention, while I think about it, Farr couldn't get a lap in qualifying. He's up to P5 at the moment, getting 12 positions. So these wet conditions, we said it might be a benefit for the guys at the back, and it's proved so for him so far.
Absolutely, and we'll have to wait and see how we can use that momentum throughout the race. I was going to say, I was going to put the tyres next to everybody's name, but I think in these conditions it's pretty pointless to do that.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's an absolute dead cert on wet. If anyone's on inters here, they will be in the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking at the position changes, and special mention as well, you said to Farth, but also to Tony as well. He's up 10 places from his starting position. Lawrence, who didn't take part in qualifying, he's in P10 at the moment. He's up 8 positions. And, sorry, who are you watching?
Sorry, he's just run off circuit. I think he's got front wing damage as well.
Yeah, he's got himself a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, and that looks like on the left-hand side there he's got front wing damage. Look how he approaches to 11 and 12 now. That's a great camera angle, by the way. As all the cars feed through there, and like you said, in these conditions where you need aero more than ever, it's a terrible time to lose a chunk of front wing.
Yeah, definitely. You never have enough downforce in the wet. And Tony, you mentioned he's up 10 positions, but looks to be struggling with Heskey and TK and several cars closing up behind him by the look of it.
Absolutely, we could be seeing a bit of a train here. Look at that, as they all try and tiptoe their way around turn 16. At lap 4 of this Grand Prix, Flows still leads the way. Meanwhile, Tony has to take defensive action against Heskey Time, as Heskey Time will try and go round the outside into turn 1. Heskey Time runs onto the grass a little bit, loses that back end. Can he keep hold of the car? Yes, he can, but at the expense of TK sailing through to take back that position he lost just a lap ago.
This shows how tricky it is to try and make a pass, and trying to do so, he's cost himself a position, and he's now, from going on the attack, he's now got Lawrence right behind him. So really, really tricky to judge just how hard you attack the cars in front at the moment.
Well, we're having a look at the Bothy Dweller here as he heads towards turn 9 and 10. He seems to be closing in on Matt here, but Matt himself is having a good race so far. Just trying to keep it on the track in these conditions is tricky enough. To get a good result doing it is even better as Lawrence runs a little bit deep into turn 9, and that's going to cost him a little bit because here comes Maze Showman, who's going to try and make it round the outside. Tucks back into the slipstream though, not brave enough to try it, as maybe he didn't think his exit was as good as he thought, but he might try up the inside of turn 11. A terrible idea, and he backed out of it. TK's in trouble.
It's a half, yeah. TK way off track, and that's costing absolutely heaps of time. Target's in one piece, but he's now way behind that path.
Absolutely, and well, turn 12 didn't claim a retirement there, but it did claim maybe a flaw there from the Haas. But doesn't look like there's any damage to that Haas, so he's got away with that one, but he needs to be more careful in these treacherous conditions.
Yeah, definitely. And all at the front of the pack, however, it's all going swimmingly for Reflow at the moment. 3.4 second gap to Sam. He got off the line well, and he's just squeezing out that gap at the moment. It's pretty clean and tidy. Sam just about hanging on there, but those two pulling away from the rest of the field at the moment. Absolutely,
and Bothy Dweller here, as the Welsh Canadian is wearing his colours for Bothy Dweller. He's 6/10 behind Matt FNG, and sticking with him in these conditions is a bit of a task because you've got all that spray there. Trying to pick out your braking point as well as we head into turns 9 and 10 is already tricky enough when you're on your own, but when you're following a car behind, it's even tougher.
Yeah, it is. Bothy Dweller looking pretty good in the McLaren at the moment. I think he's been slightly disappointed with qualifying. He's talking up his chances, I think, quite a bit pre-season. He's got quite a bit of practice in and he's feeling good. He's got a great run now as they come down to turn 13. Prix defence, so Bothy has to go to the outside. I think he will have to stop back in behind, try to get the cut back, but right in behind Matt at the moment and looking for that opportunity to get by.
Absolutely, and you can see there Matt didn't get the greatest exit out of turn 12. That was why Bothy Dweller was able to close up so quickly, as we've got yellow flags in sector 2, and that could be Scorpion there in trouble. Was it Scorpion, or did he just lose a position? Not entirely sure. However, I'm going to jump on board with Heskey Time here, who coming out of the final corner was only a 10th behind Go Tony. So Heskey Time here could have a move down the inside as White Fountain comes into the pits. And what's happened? Sorry, I just saw yellow flags and assumed something went wrong, and that is something went wrong. That was Heskey Time pulling to one side. So not entirely sure what happened there, but whatever's happened, he's down to P9 now.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, but he's still continuing now. So I'm not quite sure what was going on. So White Fountain then exiting the pits. He's the first driver to make a stop at the end of lap 5.
And it looks like, what tyres is he on? I think that'll be the wet tyres. If it's intermediates, I'll eat my hat. But yes, it is the wet tyres he's on. And well, stop this early. I know the wet tyres can last quite a while, but can they last? How many laps is that? 14 or 20? 20? No.
I couldn't
20.
He must have had some sort of damage.
Yeah, I'm thinking that as well. But to last them 23, 24 laps is going to be a big ask.
Yeah, it definitely is. He'll be struggling a lot towards the end, that's for sure. Far from an ideal strategy. But we shall see how he gets on. We'll keep an eye on him. And Bath is continuing his good run in these wet conditions at the moment. He's tucked in behind the Ferrari and making the most of that incredible first lap here.
Absolutely. Yellow flags in sector 1. But we'll keep on board with Farth here, who's trying to make the best of Matt. Your daddy is out of the session. Yeah. He's out of the race. And we'll be able to see yellow flags up towards turn 3 here. And that is him there in the wall. So did he lose the back end coming into... that's the entrance of the corner. So maybe he clipped the grass and just went straight to the scene of the accident. Virtual safety car deployed, Jono.
Okay, so first VSC of the season. So all these drivers got to keep a close eye on the Delta now and make sure you don't pick up any so easy to pick up a silly penalty. So yeah, taking it slightly cautiously and sticking to that delta as close as you can.
Absolutely. Well, Farth there may have run into the back of Matt FNG there, because I saw a bit of debris flying across the track. Now, whether that was his or a bit of rubber, I'm not entirely sure, but he might have got himself a little bit of minor front wing damage under the virtual safety car. That's not as it's over now, as we don't get very much warning. But yeah, he's on the attack now, and we'll see whether that front wing is going to do anything. But looks like
no visible damage, but he could have a small amount of damage. But he's going for it all the same. On the outside, again into turn 13, and he's got a good run. But he's going to try and hold it, and Matt's giving him space as well. But I think Matt will now have the inside for the next corner, and should be able to defend the position.
Absolutely, as they head towards turn 15 now, will Farth try and move down the inside. A little bit of contact there as they head into turn 15, and that puts Matt onto the grass there. And whether Matt will have felt that contact or not, but Farth is now up into P3, but that has given Bothy Dweller a huge opportunity here to go side by side with Matt as they head towards turn 1, and Matt backs out of it, so Bothy Dweller takes P4.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Matt might not be too happy about that, because he did get a little bit of contact, like you say. It was just pushed him deep and he lost 2 positions due to that. So he's going to try and keep his cool now. A long way to go yet. Second behind Bothy Dweller if he can, and don't let it get to him that he had a little bit of contact there, I think.
Absolutely. You say a long way to go. It's 22 laps to be exact to go in this opening round of the season. Flows leads the way from Samster and Farth. That's your podium so far, but this you're watching here is the battle for that last place on the podium. And we'll have to keep an eye on Lawrence D as well, as he's right behind Go Tony. First race of the season, though, as we ride aboard with the Force Indias. Team orders, Jono, do they exist in the first race of the season?
If they do, I certainly wouldn't be paying any attention to them at round 1. I'm pretty sure it'll be every man for themselves at the moment, and I'm sure they'll be free to battle.
Yeah, unlike the real life Force Indias there, then. Anyway,
they get on better in the battle than they have a couple of times this season. But yeah, Force Indias as well, up 10 and 11 positions. So great racing so far. So they definitely don't want to be getting tangled up with each other.
Absolutely. We're jumping back on board with Bothy Dweller, as he's right on the gearbox of Farth as they exit turn 16 now down this long straight that seems to go on forever. But does Bothy Dweller have the opportunity to try and get past? Of course, no DRS in these soaking wet conditions as he chucks the car into turn 1, then through turn 2. And you can see there, Matt's starting to drop back a little bit there. And lacking, just falling back a little bit, as he'll be hoping that these two start to battle a little bit more so it can bring him back into it.
Yeah, you have to say Bothy Dweller looks quicker than Farth mid-corner, but Farth good on the exits of the crucial corners where you can make a pass, and managing to defend pretty well at the moment. And Bothy Dweller obviously pushing there, getting the car a little bit sideways. So he's got to bide his time and try and pick up the position if he can. They're both looking good for a podium chance, so no point sending it and risking too much at this stage.
Yeah, we saw off camera there Lawrence getting past Go Tony, and that is the battle for 6th place, which we'll be on board with for a slight minute, as that is made Showman in the distance there. So maybe the Force India swap positions just so they wouldn't be challenged by the Williams there.
Yeah, perhaps so. Certainly looks like not too much time is lost in that pass. So yeah, they can run their race and try and defend as much as they can from the Williams. Who's also running it on turn 12. There's so many drivers pushing the limits at that corner there, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a couple of incidents there before the end of the race.
Yeah, TK picking up a 3-second time penalty. He's in P10 at the moment, as we've already got blue flags out there. That's the Heart of White Fountain, who has to move out of the way of the Mercedes of Farth, as Farth has to take to the grass. Sorry, that's Jaw. I said another one, White Fountain. Oh, that's Jaw into the wall, though.
Oh.
What happened to Jaw, then? That's a Ferrari of Matt.
Oh, no.
Well, that is Jaw on a set of intermediate tyres for Jaw. And I don't know whether it's that the rain has eased off, but whether it's time for it, well, Matt will not be happy with that at all. Not entirely sure what happened, but it has taken Matt out of the equation. And Bothy Dweller doesn't have anyone on his tail anymore. He can focus on the car ahead.
I'm sure, well, we don't know quite what happened, but Matt, you know, seemingly minded his own race and has ended up out of the race. So, yeah, disaster for him. And Jaw managing to just about now keep it on circuit on his inters, but he looks slow. I'm not sure it was the right call to switch over when he has.
Well, let's have a look at the tyres then. Heskey Time and Jaw are both on a set of intermediate tyres. Let's have a look at Heskey here. And let's see what the gap is like to White Fountain here. As it comes towards this right-hander. And as you can see there's not a lot of grip out there. And if we look at the sort of distance between him and White Fountain, it's increasing. The rain has eased off, but I think it's too early for intermediates.
Yeah, I think they know, you know, they've gone for the early call, but it certainly isn't gaining time on these tyres at the moment, and he's risking a lot. So I think it might be a lap or two too early at least. And,
oh, here comes... Sorry to cut you up there, Jono. Bothy Dweller tried to move down the inside of Farth into turn 1. Didn't quite work. Sticked on his tail through turn 2. And now he's in the slipstream, hoping to make a move into turn 3. Does he? Yes, he tries a late dive down the inside. A little bit of contact made. And they've got to give each other a little bit more room out there. But Farth keeps that position as we head into turn 4. Now through the right-hander of turn 5. A little bit of braking for the corner. Normally flat out in the dry. And Bothy... will he try another move up the inside? Sticks his front wing in. As you can see, Farth runs a little bit onto the curb there. But holds position for now. Close battling between these two.
Yeah, I think close is an understatement there. Little tiny bits of contact, but both drivers able to continue. But yeah, Farth defending, you know, as he's entitled to do. And Bothy Dweller looking increasingly frustrated, not being able to find a way by. But got to just pick his moment. There was a bit of an opportunity there, but didn't quite work out. He ended up on the outside for the next corner, so he's got to try again.
Meanwhile, TK has come in for a set of intermediate tyres. He thinks it's time. It's always difficult to try and get the change over here. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen there, as we're watching with Bothy Dweller, the amount of standing water there was there. So it's a little difficult to tell. Obviously, it's a different story when you're on the racing line, but around the track there is still standing water out there. So whether it's time for intermediates or not, well, for Flo, Samsa, Farth and Bothy Dweller so far, they're all thinking it's still time for wets.
Yeah, that's it. The leaders still sticking with the wet tyre. I think it's still hard to be on. Looking at TK, struggling for tractions, you know, a lot. And of course they're just wearing these intermediates out as well. The guys still on the wets will be bolting on a fresh set of inters a bit later in the race. These guys already putting wear on those rear tyres, spinning them up. And so, you know, that could put them in a position of either worn tyres or having to pit again later in the race.
Absolutely. Mage Showman here is trying to close in on Tony. Locks up a little bit coming into turn 3. And then coming through turns 4, 5 and 6. We'll be hoping to try and keep that car in check. We're going to jump back on board with Bothy Dweller though, as he's still trying to chase down this final podium position. And he's been looking at the back of that Mercedes for a long time now, Jono.
Yeah, he has. Maybe he will look at perhaps pit strategy, you know, try to pass in the pits. Either just doing the opposite path might be a good call. He's got more speed by the look of it. So, you know, maybe doing the opposite could give him an opportunity to gain the position.
Absolutely. Well, as we fly down towards turn 13, nothing doing for Bothy at the moment. And as we head through turns 14, 15 and 16, it's time to see who thinks it's ready. As Farth there, running wide on the curb, picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. Now, that might not reach Bothy Dweller in a good amount of time. Jeff might take him a little bit of a while to get that message across. However, right now, all he's thinking about is to try and find a way past.
It is, yeah. If only he knew, you know, the pressure's sort of off him in a way. He's got that 3-second buffer in hand now. We also don't know if he's got any World Cup penalties himself, World Cup warnings. But yeah, Farth obviously absolutely pushing the limits there and picked up his first penalty. And still a long way to go yet as well, so he's got to be careful he doesn't pick up another.
Absolutely. Well, the sun is starting to poke through the clouds, as you could see through turn 1 and then through turn 3. So this rain could be easing off, Jono, and that might be good news for some.
Yeah, it's easing off. It's still a lot of spray on Boffy Dweller's view. In the spray, still looks very, very wet. But I think we are slowly getting towards intermediate conditions. But interesting, still only those 4 drivers switched over. The majority of the field still thinking the wet tyre is the one to be on.
Absolutely. The most recent driver is Scorpion, so we'll keep an eye on his gap to White Fountain ahead of him. We're keeping with Farth and Boffy Dweller as we go through turn 12 there, and bit of an interesting line there from Boffy. I'll leave it at that, but it has meant he's got a good run as we head towards turn 13, but thinks against making a move down the inside.
Doesn't seem to have enough exit in the traction zone for Boffy to get far enough alongside to make a definitive move. He's having a look everywhere. It just hasn't really got the opportunity at the moment.
Absolutely, he's trying to prioritise. You can see here the exit of turn 16. He thinks this is the best chance, either the straight here or the straight after turn 2, and he might have a point here. Here it goes then. Could this be the move for the final place on the podium? He tries to go down the inside. Boffy Dweller gives Farth the room though, and to be fair, Farth gave him the room as well. Another chance then, another bite of the cherry as we head towards turn 3. Farth going very defensive, almost putting Boffy onto the grass, but gave him enough room, and Boffy there moves up into 3rd place. At last, he says, I've got that position.
Yeah, persistence paid off in the end. He got a good run onto down to turn 1 this time, but Farth managed to hold it around outside again, as we've seen him do previously. But he was able to then get the inside and the braking just right for turn 3, and finally Boffy's got the position. So we'll see now, we'll keep an eye on the gap, how much pace has he got in hand, and will he just pull away from the Mercedes driver?
Absolutely. Well, Farth just has to keep his head here. He knows that he could keep up with Boffy, but defending's one thing, keeping up is another. I know that from experience, Jono. I'm very good at defending against drivers, but catching them, that's another story.
I think Farth has got to keep in mind as well that he's having an amazing race, being 4th, and he's moved up from literally last on the grid. So he does not need to throw it away driving over his limit here. So I think carry on with his race, drive his race. He's got clear air now, and he's still on for an amazing result.
Absolutely. A late call here from Flows, because the Mercedes crew had to run out there, but he's going onto a set of intermediate tyres, so the race leader pitting in thinking it's time.
Yeah, interesting. So Sam continues on then. I guess he's got nothing to lose. He was losing time slightly to reflow, so he's going to go the extra lap at least and just see if he can do something by running a slightly different strategy.
Absolutely. Let's see where Flows rejoins then. He rejoins in 4th place, so his teammates ahead of him. And you can see Lawrence and Main Showman into the pits as well. They're putting on a set of intermediate tyres as well, so maybe, Jono, we're very close to the crossover point, if not at the crossover point.
Yeah, looks like we're approaching it now, doesn't it? And it's worked out brilliantly to reflow again. He's got clear air on his out lap, so he can push on his inters, or push as much as he dares anyway, and hope that he at least has the same gap, if not more, once Sam hits.
Well, here's an interesting bit. Heskey Time has just set the fastest lap in the race on a set of intermediate tyres. Oh, but Scorpion's into the wall ahead of him on the same set of tyres. So, could this be the moment then, Jono? Intermediate tyres are the way to go, as Heskey Time's still locking up a little bit.
Yeah, I think you've got to be cautious on the inters and smooth, but if you are, I think it looks like they are now just about the quicker tyre. I guess the wet had seen better days as well, so you have to make the call one way or the other. So we'll see if Sam hits the flat around the, there he is, into the pits. So Sam has called it a day on his wet, and will this cost him time?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, because Flows was closing in on Farth by, well, nearly a second this lap, if not more than a second that lap. So how much time will this have cost Samster as he leaves the pit lane there? There goes Flows, straight down the pit lane to retake the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. And look at that, Samster's still in the pits.
He's going to have lost out quite a bit here. I think it was just under 6 seconds the gap before he pitted. and we're looking at 9.7, 10 seconds there at the moment, so it's not worked out for Sam, I don't think.
No, absolutely not. A lot can change in a lap in a Formula 1 race, and White Fountain here has stayed out on a set of wet tyres. He is up to P4 though.
Up to P4, but he's going to suffer some pain now on this lap, I think, as Fast rejoins in 5th, and that will be 4th once White Fountain finally gets to those wet tyres.
Oh, that's made Showman there having a bit of a moment on the exit of turn 2. Interestingly enough, he's done one lap on a new set of wet tyres. Now, was that a mistake on the MFD? Was that a mistake by the team? Or did he want to stay on a set of wet tyres?
Yeah, who knows? You'd have to say it was possibly just a mistake and he selected the wrong tyres. Heskey Time tucked up behind him on the Inters in the Red Bull and looking to make his way by. But yeah, I think Mays could be suffering here unless he knows something we don't and the weather's going to turn wetter again. He's certainly running the alternative strategy to every other driver in the field.
Absolutely. Well, the rain has eased off, but it's still raining here at Albert Park. And you can see Heskey Time on the tail here. Now, this looks like... Oh, White Fountain's out of the race. And it's turn 12 again. It's taken another victim.
Oh. Turn 12, it is just the scene of many broken Formula 1 cars at the moment, and White Fountain then, he said he was playing on those wet tyres, it's proved to be the wrong decision, and he's out of the race.
And it's cost him, yeah, as you say, a race finish. Well, Main Showman here was very, very defensive against Heskey Time then, and Heskey Time, speaking of which, gets a 5-second stop-go for corner cutting.
Oh. Not ideal for him at all, so obviously pushing the limits a little bit too far, and Mace Showman is managing to hold him off at the moment on the fresh wet, so you know, although Heskey Time looks quicker, the wets aren't falling completely away just yet.
Well, here comes Heskey Time then towards turn 3. He's going to try around the outside as he try and stick it on the outside, but Maid Showman slams the door shut. And that's Go Tony, who might have had a little bit of a moment there. As we'll have to wait and see. Still yellow flags out, so... No, I'm not entirely sure who that yellow flag was for. So we'll jump straight back on board with Heskey Time then.
Got a good run here. Carry the speed by the look of it.
He's got an amazing run round the outside as we head towards turns 9 and 10. And Maid Showman has to try and take that defensive line. He loses the back end very slightly. Heskey Time doesn't need a second invitation. And he swoops past to take P6 away.
Yeah, he's through. And will Maid Showman really stick with his wet tyres now? Or really think better of it? I think we might see him falling off the back of Heskey Time pretty quickly here.
Yeah, the gap's already up to 6/10 there as Samster 136.2, fastest lap of the race so far. And down the straights, Maid Showman might not have too much trouble, but as you can see through the corners, you can see how much he's falling away. The gap's already 1 second.
Yeah, he's just got so much understeer mid-corner, suffering so badly. And as the sun glints through the clouds, I think his issues are only going to get worse. As Lawrence, the newest person, to get a 3-second time penalty, so they are starting to lack up for a few of these drivers now.
Oh, Heskey Time took to the grass. And is that a chance for Maid Showman to try and get back in front? Here they are then battling as we head towards turn 3. Maid Showman has the more speed as we head down to the braking zone. But has Heskey Time done enough to keep ahead? I think he has. But a huge moment for Heskey Time there, and a reminder to stay focused.
Yeah, nearly undid his hard work there, and he'll continue to push on again now. But it shows that the conditions absolutely treacherous. He cannot afford to put a foot wrong.
Well, let's have a quick run through of the standings of the race so far. As you can see, Flows is heading through the final few corners, and he'll be soon starting the 19th lap of this Australian Grand Prix in the lead. Samster is in 2nd place, Bothy Dweller in 3rd, Farthbert in 4th, Lawrence in 5th, Heskey Time 6th, Maid Showman in 7th, Scorpion in 8th, Chopper 9th, Go Tony in 10th, TK in 11th, Jaw in 12th as the last of the runners. White Fountain, Matt FNG, Matt Your Daddy, Pepsi Gamer, Lukey and CSS all out of this Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah, these conditions have claimed several drivers now, and Jordan, despite having a bit of a nightmare himself, he finds himself not far away from picking up a point. So I think all these drivers will be sticking with it, because there are definitely points on the table for all the drivers still running.
Absolutely. And well, 10 seconds is the gap, and it hasn't really moved around too much. Samster is closing very, very slightly every single lap, but with 11 laps to go, he's got to close that gap by a lot to even catch Flows at this point.
Yeah, he definitely seems a little bit more comfortable on the intermediate tyre. He is, as you say, bringing the gap down very, very slightly, but they're virtually trading lap times, and you have to presume that Reflow probably being pretty careful at the moment, managing the race. 10 seconds is a nice buffer. He can just control the race from there, and make sure he doesn't make any errors, because you don't want to make it from here with a 10-second lead.
Oh, Made Showman here is I don't know whether he's struggling or not. I can't quite tell, and he is struggling because he's lost his front wing. Has he? No, just a part of it. Oh, the spray there made it look like that he lost his entire front wing, but it's just the right-hand side of it. Either way, that's a huge amount of downforce he's lost.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awful for him as Hesperton picks up another time penalty, so he is scuffing a bit with the track limits at the moment. Will Mage now pit? He's on probably the wrong tyre, and he's got wing damage as well. So he'll be weighing that up in his helmet at the moment, looking at the gaps for the drivers behind him.
Well, Chopper
just flies by.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think Made Showman made too much of a battle out of that, and Scorpion will do exactly the same thing. The Toro Rosso swoop past the Williams, and well, this is Scorpion now coming in. So he had a bit of front wing damage as well on that left-hand side. So, well, drama as it happens, but for Williams there, this has not been a great day so far. Still 10 laps to go, though.
Yeah, Williams, of course, Constructors Champions last season, and I think the most successful constructor in F1 TSF history as well. So, yeah, they will be hoping for better, but Mage rejoins in 10th at the look of it, and tucked up behind Scorpion, so these two could well have a good ding-dong battle now at the end of the race. Absolutely.
Well, TK goes through. He picked up a 5-second time penalty. Well, that's a stop and go, so if conditions stay as they are, that'll be added to the end of his race. But as you say, Scorpion and Made Showman here could have a really good battle as we head towards the closing stages of this Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah, they're battling for the last point as well, so these positions mean something. Draw still circulating, but obviously way out of it. But how will Mage cope now on the intermediates? We're not really sure what his pace is like, obviously been on the wet all race. So how will he fare against Scorpion? I think they're looking pretty equal at the moment. As he adapts to these tyres, the rear of the car looks really, really lively. I think these drivers would love a little bit more rear wing on the cars, but they're stuck with what they got. And will he be able to make a move? He taps right in 16 as they approach turns 11 and 12. If he's looking to get a good exit, compromise a little bit on the entrance to turn 11, and he does get a good exit, better exit than Scorpion, that's for sure. Will he look to the left or to the right? He's going to look to the inside, but Scorpion moves to the racing line, and he picks the breaking point here. He could well gain the position, and he has done so. So the Williams have made up to P10.
Absolutely, and Scorpion took the full brunt of that charging Williams there. But, well, Mage is up to P10, and Scorpion will have to try and close that gap once again as they both head on to their 21st lap of the Grand Prix.
They do, and Sam's got that gap down to 8.5. It's not going to be enough, I don't think, but he has shown that he's got the speed, and I think it looks like in dry conditions, these two will be extremely evenly matched. And certainly sets us up for an exciting battle, seasonal battle, I think, between those two.
Absolutely, 8 laps to go, and Flows looks pretty comfortable leading the race here. Of course, still a long way to go, as one legend of the commentary box once said, anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does.
It does. I think we've already seen a lot of that already in this race so far. We've seen all sorts. And those still running now will be looking at that lap counter, seeing it in the 20s, and knowing that they're on the home straight, a long way to go. But you know they've done a lot of hard work to get to where they are at the moment, and especially our podium boys will be counting down those laps now and just praying for the race end to come.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Bothy Dweller there in third place. Everyone seems a little bit spaced out at the moment, apart from the guys battling for 9th place. TK is being caught by Made Showman here, but of course Made Showman on a fresh set of inters, and TK on 10 lap old intermediate tyres.
Yeah, I'm interested in those two. The rest of the field, as you mentioned, spread out a little bit as people have sort of slotted into their respective paces since we've switched on the inters, and they're all looking pretty solid at the moment. Lawrence looking good in the fourth India in 5th. Wasn't long ago we mentioned that him and his teammate Joe Tony were together on track. Well, Tony down in 8th and a fair way back from his teammate now. So Lawrence has driven a good middle part of the race.
Absolutely, and we can't forget Farther's stunning drive. Couldn't set a lap in qualifying, but finds himself P4 in the race. I think above all else he'll take that. Yeah,
absolutely. It's been a phenomenal drive. You know, we made all his position flat 1, but then we didn't know what his pace would be. He probably didn't know either after his disastrous qualifying. But defended pretty well when needed to as well. Aggressive, but pretty much fair, I think, against Boffy for lap after lap there, and didn't drop his head when he lost the position to Boffy either. He's just carried on in the Mercedes, and we'll be delighted if we can bring over P4.
Absolutely. Well, that is, I believe that was TK getting a 3-second time penalty there. So not great for him today. He's had quite a few time penalties. So he'll be hoping to take into the next race a few penalties less, as he looks to try and keep it on the grey stuff. However, we have seen a fantastic race. We have 7 laps of it remaining. It's been raining for the entire race, and it looks like, Jono, it's going to rain for the rest of it.
Yeah, it's not going to dry from here, I don't think. And yeah, the drivers would have done 29 wet laps around Australia, so they still won't be really any the wider into where they stand in the pecking order, really, in dry conditions. So they'll have to wait for round 2 to discover that. But a great day if they can finish where they are for Mercedes in the constructors battle early on as well, P1 and P4. So they will take an early lead, I believe, in the constructors if they can bring it home where they are at the moment.
Absolutely, and will they be able to do that with the 6 laps remaining now? We're looking on board with Made Showman now, closing in on TK. Oh, he hits the wall there on that right hand side. Looks like he got away with any damage, so he's still going to try and close in on TK as we go through 11 and 12 now, and looking to try and close that gap ever more, and it looks like it's falling drastically here.
Yeah, he's closing that gap down absolutely rapidly. Appears to have more grip than TK does at the moment at this point in the race. Keeping it neat and tidy just about as well, but obviously pushing hard as Lisa. I think I saw there picking up a time penalty as well. So I think could well alter a few of the finishing positions for some of these midfield runners come the end of the race once we see all the penalties tossed up.
Absolutely. Well, Mage has got a good exit out of turn 16, as he would with 10 lap younger tyres, as he heads towards turn 1 looking for that way past and to get a couple more points than he has right now. But he has picked himself up a 3-second time penalty, which could pay dividends for drivers behind him at the end of the race. Meanwhile, here he goes up the inside of TK into turn 3, and he's got the move done. Very let braking there, locked up going into turn 3, but he managed to keep control of the car, and he's now up to P9.
Yeah, that was aggressive stuff, wasn't it? But he made it work just about, and yeah, up to P9. So he's recovering his race slightly here from that poor tyre choice and obviously wing damage, and up to P9. So he's doing okay. And another bit of a dark horse in this race as well is Trotter, who's currently second behind Heskey and closing up to him quite rapidly. We haven't mentioned him much in this race, but he's up 4 positions from his starting position. and is in with a shot of P6 here in the in the remaining 4 or 5 laps of the race.
Absolutely. Well, the Red Bull of Heskey Time is starting to fall into his clutches. As you can see, Chopper on much younger, much fresher tyres than the Red Bull driver ahead of him. So this could be a chance here, as you say, for Chopper to grab some more points.
Yeah, I think it's looking a bit ominous for the Red Bull of Heskey at the moment. He's picking up penalties as well. Obviously really, really struggling and pushing hard. But Chopper just closing that gap down with ease, by the look of it. But as we've seen already, getting by is another thing altogether. So we'll see how Chopper manages, see how he fares in those crucial traction zones. We've seen some drivers manage it quite easily, others really, really struggle to get far enough alongside to make a move under braking.
Absolutely. I'm looking at both Toro Rosso drivers because Chopper's chasing down Heskey Time. Meanwhile, Scorpion is chasing down TK. So I think the engineers in the Toro Rosso garage are literally on the edge of their seats here, hoping both cars will make it to the end.
Yeah, Scorpion can see points just ahead of him, so he has got extra incentive to try and get TK, who we seem to have spoken about a lot in this race. TK seems to have been in race 1 battles with cars, and he will be desperate to pick up that final point.
As Jaw there picks up a 5-second stop go for ignoring the blue flag. Could he have helped his teammate or hindered him? It might have been on the side of hindered him if Scorpion managed to find a way up the inside of turn 9. Not over yet though, as on the exit of turn 10, looks like Scorpion got the much better exit on fresher tyres. And as we head towards 11 and 12, you can see there Scorpion has so much more grip, so much more confidence on the brakes as well, as TK loses that back end very slightly. But I don't think Scorpion had the exit to really benefit from moving up the inside. There goes TK going defensive, defending that inside line, but he's lost the back end, and Scorpion finds that way through.
Yeah, I think that was just inevitable, wasn't it? The difference in braking distances and traction was just night and day between the two cars, and Scorpion through, and I think we'll see him clear off into the distance now. So can his teammate Chopper, can he do the same, as he is lining up Heskey Time now, tucked right in 16?
Absolutely. Toro Rosso versus Red Bull, as looking like Chopper is just looking to see what he can exploit here, seeing where Heskey Time is braking, where he's lifting off, just assessing before he makes that move. And well, is he going to try and make a move up the inside of turn 11? We haven't seen it all race. No, he backed out of it. Oh, was looking all race to see if someone wanted to go up the inside, but the one person who could have done backed out of it. Maybe he had that racing brain on, knowing that he couldn't make that move up the inside there.
Yeah, he did get it up the inside, didn't he? And he sort of thought, was he going to go for it there? But that is such a risky place to go for a move. If you haven't got a winning driver on the outside of you, you can get your nose swiped off. And I think Chopper probably did the right thing there in backing off, and he's got a couple more laps now to have another go.
Absolutely, he's got around 3 laps to be precise to make that move, and TK's retired from the session there. So TK is out of the Australian Grand Prix.
Oh, as Chopper runs into the back of Heskey Time, I think Heskey lost the rear of the car, and I don't think Chopper actually had much alternative but to run into the back of him. But he is going to wait for Heskey Time, so good sportsmanship by Chopper there, returning the position.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't quite see what happened on the stream there, unfortunately. However, we did see Chopper give the position back. Heskey Time has a lot of front wing damage though. So have we been robbed of a fantastic closing battle here, as Heskey Time runs wide and Chopper simply sails through and takes P6 away.
Yeah, I think Heskey Time, massive wing damage. He's going to have to, I think, even though we're at the end of the race, he's just going to lose so much time. So a shame for Heskey Time. It was looking good early on, good qualifying, P3, he'd have been delighted with that, but the race hasn't quite worked out how he'd wanted.
Absolutely. The next car behind him is 12.8 at the moment. That's Tony. So I'll have to keep an eye on that gap and see what happens. It's probably not worth him pitting at this point in the race with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the gap. He's going to lose a lot of time either way. But yeah, maybe you'll try and defend that 12-second gap if you can. If you just stay straight on turn 13 as well, he's going to struggle hugely now. This will be a long last couple of laps for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, whether he pits in or not is an entirely different question. Would he say to just stay out there and try and claim P7?
I think he's going to have to pit because he's
No.
already lost the position to the Force India nearly already.
Well, will he lose even more time? Where will he rejoin? He might even rejoin. Well, he might rejoin in the points because Jura, I think, is 2 laps down at the moment. So in he comes, and he has to wait 5 seconds anyway before the crew can do any work. There they go. On go a new set of intermediate tyres. On goes a new front wing. It seems like an age for the driver just sitting there. And away he finally goes, and he will rejoin in P10. A disaster for Heskey time. What could have been a good amount of points might just turn into 1.
Yeah, I guess it's a point. The points that were no points at the end of the day. I think he had to pit, otherwise he'd have been crashing out of the race. So he rejoins in 10th. Luckily for him, Draw is a long way back, so he's got a comfortable gap behind him now. So hopefully he can bring that home as our leader Reflow then on the final lap of the race.
Absolutely. He has pretty much been dominant the entire race. The only lap he didn't lead was when he pitted in for the changeover point. He has been completely dominant today, and although Samster has been closing in on him in these closing laps, it hasn't been quite enough per lap to get onto the back of Flows here. But as he makes his way towards turns 9 and 10 for the last time, it's been a very interesting first race of the season, and I'm sure the drivers will be soaking wet as they get out of their cars tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I think there'll be a mixture of, well, there'll be delight for for the finishers, especially the top 5. All who've had great performances and gained lots of positions. Obviously, a lot of disappointment, a lot of DNFs on that list as well. But it's a tough ask to come to Australia for the first race of the season in these conditions and try and bring the car home. And everyone pushing hard. Didn't quite work out for some, but it's going to work out brilliantly for Reflow.
Absolutely, and as Reflow finds his way around the final corner of the Australian Grand Prix, he'll head towards the line to win the first race of the season. What a drive from Reflow's, completely dominant throughout the day. Samster will cross the line in second place, and with those penalties finishes 3.4. Bothy Dweller will claim a podium. There's the finish line at last. He will claim that last podium spot. And, well, Farthber, no easy task this was from quite a way back. P17 to be exact, to come home in P4. What a drive from Farth. He's earned that P4 there. Lawrence will come across the line. He'll claim P5 and 8.7 behind Farth there. And may have been robbed of a great battle for P6 here, but Chopper looks like he's going to just try and limp home here to claim a valuable P6 for the Toro Rosso team. Coming around the final few corners, tiptoeing his way around, just making sure he doesn't make another mistake. And he heads towards the line. He will claim P6 in this Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah, good drive by Chopper there. Second half of the race as well. They came under the radar a little bit. He'll be happy with P6, I think. And Go Tony then crosses the line in 7th as well. Little Weevils, he exits the last corner, so I think he's pretty happy with that result as well. And Mage then crossing the line. P8, eventful race for him. Brought the car home and got some points. So good drive from him as well.
Absolutely, and whilst Go Tony was coming towards the line, DRS was enabled. I mean, talk about timing of when the switchover point was. But what a drive from Reflow today. He's earned that win, completely dominant today. He's earned that win and that champagne.
Definitely. There was pre-season hype behind him, and he's absolutely delivered for the first round. But Sam as well, I think, will be absolutely delighted with that. I know quick last season, few things didn't go his way, so he'll be delighted to get his championship off with a good start with P2 and Bothy Dweller as well. Obviously doing MP3 for the car.
And as we see the results here, Reflow wins the first race of the season. Samster in second, Bothy Dweller third, Farth in fourth, Lawrence D in fifth, Chopper sixth, Go Tony in seventh, Scorpion eighth, Maged in ninth, Heskey Time 10th, Jaw in 11th, finishing 2 laps down from the leaders. And then the DNFs, TK, White Fountain, Matt FNG, Matt Your Daddy, Pepsi, Lukey's and CSS. Those are your official unofficial results.
Yeah, great race, and shout out for Sam and Scorpion as well, who didn't pick up any time penalties by the look of it as well. So great drive by them to avoid any penalties.
Well, what a race it's been, and well, as you can tell, my voice hasn't been 100% the entire race, so if I didn't sound passionate about it, that's completely false. I went as much as my voice would allow me. But yeah,
absolutely, you made it to the end, and yeah, voice can recover now, ready for round 2 next week, where I'm sure we'll have plenty more action.
Round 2 on the 1st of November. Of course, we will be here from 8 p.m. For qualifying for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Of course, we are 20 minutes into the Prestige League. Is that the name of it? I'm new here. It's Prestige, isn't it? Yeah. So go over to them, watch their race, why not? And you can join us again next week from 8 p.m. for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Don't forget the late night talk show, which is on at 9:30 p.m. this coming Sunday, where a few of the drivers will be meeting there to talk about stuff from the Australian Grand Prix. But go over now, watch the Prestige League, and until next week, I've been Kieran McGinley.
And I've been John Worth, and we'll see you next time.
Take care of yourselves.